is the news at 9. First, the highlights. The Lagos State Task Force again cracks down on Okada operations along Lagos-Badagry Expressway. Federal government restates commitments to improve road infrastructure. On the foreign scene, United Kingdom announced its sanctions on 4 extremist Israeli settlers. And in sports, Super Eagles winger Ahmed Musa expresses satisfaction over team's performance at 2023 AFCON final. And now the details. I am Akan Usen. The Lagos State Task Force has intensified its operations along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, resulting in the seizure of 497 motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, that were found applying the highway despite being prohibited from doing so. Chairman of the agency, Shola Jejelui, said it is a decisive move to ensure public safety and uphold the laid down traffic rules and regulations on the state's highways, bridges, and other restricted routes. The recent operations led by Jejelui also covered areas such as Doi Bus Stop, Alakija, Iyanoba, Igboileri, Festac Link Bridge, and Igondo, in order to stamp the commitment of the Lagos State Task Force to enforce traffic regulations and maintain order and sanity on Lagos roads. Jejelui said these efforts are part of a broader initiative to enhance safety for all road users and eliminate the risks associated with Okada operations on restricted routes and Lagos highways. He described the activities of Okada operators, especially along Lagos-Badagry Expressway, as reckless due to the nonchalant attitude of the operators on that corridor. Lagos State government has issued a 4-day relocation notice to all squatters under the Obalende Bridge, as well as illegal motorpark operators and buses who have moved to the main road in furtherance of the quest for a sustainable environment. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, stated this during an inspection tour of Obalende, Akpongbon, Ebutero, and Ijora for environmental infractions in the company of its transportation counterpart, Oluwaseun Oshiemi. Wahab said all shanties and their dwellers, traders, squatters, cattle rearers, and abandoned vehicles presently under Obalende Bridge must vacate the area by Thursday afternoon, as enforcement will commence in the early hours of Friday. He added that all the commercial vehicle operators who have turned the main roads in Obalende into parking lots should relocate to the various parks provided for them, because the government has had enough of the defacement of the aesthetics of Obalende by the operators and it must be restored. Also, the Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiemi, said the Ministry of Transportation's collaboration with the Environment and Water Resources has been beneficial to the state government in delivering its mandate. The newly deployed Permanent Secretary, Office of Urban Development, Shodainde Nuruddin, has charged officials of the Lagos State Building Control Agency LABCA not to condone illegality in the discharge of their functions, but to help developers and builders to ensure compliance to building codes and best practices in the built industry. Shodainde gave the charge at the inaugural meeting with officials of the LABCA at the agency's headquarters in Ikeja. The permanent secretary, while expressing his confidence in the ability of the professionals in the agency to stem the tide of building collapses and illegalities in the built industry in the state, calls for concerted efforts from all members of staff, especially those on the field, to ensure that the mandate of the agency is achieved. He pleaded with officers of the agency not to compromise in their daily activities of ensuring the safety and stability of structures across Lagos. Earlier in his welcome remark, General Manager of the agency, Gbola Oki, described the redeployment of the Permanent Secretary to the Office of Urban Development as homecoming and in familiar terrain. Oki pledged the maximum cooperation of officers of the agency in ensuring the success of the Permanent Secretary in his new assignment. With the rising spate of kidnapping and insecurity across the country, the Lagos State House of Assembly has called on the National Assembly to commence urgent constitutional amendment to allow for the creation of state police. Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, who made the call at resumption of plenary, expressed concern over the pervasive insecurity in the country, emphasizing the urgent need for state police in order to combat the menace and other forms of criminalities. Other lawmakers who echoed the call for state police equipping and strengthening of the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Agency to better protect the lives of Lagosians also suggested other measures to be taken urgently. The House resolved that there is urgent need to allocate a specific percentage of Security Trust Fund to empower and strengthen the neighborhood security outfits in the state, while also stressing the need to engage youths in different sporting activities. Now to the rest of the stories. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has reiterated the federal government's commitment to improving Nigeria's roads infrastructure to ensure the safety of roads in order to boost the economy. Umahi, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Yakubu Kofa-Mata, said this while receiving the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, (DAW), with his management team during a courtesy visit in Abuja. The minister said the ministry will always ensure that contractors handling construction and rehabilitation of roads across the country deliver quality roads that will facilitate the country's economic development. He called on all the stakeholders in the road sector to join government to ensure that the mandate of the ministry under the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration is achieved for the well-being of the people. While expressing the readiness of the ministry to collaborate with FRSC, the minister assured the delegation of adequate patronage of the Corps' signage plant, stressing that henceforth contractors handling the Ministry of Works road projects will be directed to patronize the Federal Road Safety Commission FRSC signage production plant. Wife of the President Oluremi Tinubu, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi, and the Chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA), Buba Marwa, has charged state governments to prioritize the fight against drug abuse to ensure a safe and secure society. The charge was given in Abuja at the opening ceremony of a two-day training on drug prevention, treatment and care organized by the NDLEA for spouses of state governors. In her keynote address at the event, Mrs. Tinubu said drug abuse is not just a law enforcement issue, but a public health crisis that requires a compassionate and multifaceted response. Meanwhile, the NDLEA boss, in his remarks, said the devastating effects of substance abuse on public health, the environment, and its nexus with the spate of insecurity faced across the country has made it mandatory for a whole-of-society approach to curb the scourge. Marwa also urged the governor's wives to take advantage of their positions to mobilize support for drug prevention and treatment in their states. And now to foreign news. The United Kingdom has announced sanctions on 4 Israeli settlers accused of committing human rights abuses against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank after a similar move by the United States this month. The sanctions announced followed what the UK called unprecedented levels of violence by extremist settlers in the West Bank over the past year by some residents of illegal Israeli settlements and outposts there. It represents a rare move by London and Washington against Israelis as war rages in the besieged Gaza Strip. The transatlantic allies' steadfast support for Israel's military operation in the territory has drawn heavy criticism both internationally and among sections of their domestic populations. Announcing the asset freezes and travel and visa bans against the settlers, British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said Israel must also take stronger action and put a stop to settler violence. In our sports, Super Eagles winger Ahmed Musa has expressed satisfaction with the performance of the team despite losing 2-1 to Cote d'Ivoire in the final of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Reacting via his official X handle, Musa stated that he is filled with immense pride for the Nigerian Super Eagles. Musa said the team may have fallen short of the championship, but the unity on the field transcended religious and tribal differences, thereby reminding them of the power of football, which brings everyone together. He also appreciated supporters for their unwavering dedication, passion for the game, urging them to carry the same spirit of unity beyond the football pitch and into every aspect of lives. It will be recalled that William Troost Ekong had given Nigeria the lead before Frank Kessie leveled parity and Sebastian Haller scored the winning goal. Also, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has hailed the Super Eagles for their performance at the just concluded 2024 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire. Sanwo-Olu said the players deserve commendation for their superb performance in the competition, despite losing at the final stage. The governor commended the players, the coaching crew, and the entire management of the team for making Nigeria proud at the competition by reaching the final against all odds. He said the Super Eagles fought gallantly to advance to the final of the Africa Cup of Nations by defeating many countries, noting that the participation of the team in the final is a testament to the determination, resilience and commitment of the Super Eagles to the competition. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who provided venues for Lagos residents to watch the AFCON Games at the Mobolaji Johnson Sports Arena and 26 other centres across the state, urged Nigerians to continue to support national teams in future competitions. And that's all for the news at 9. Slow down at road junctions, intersections and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X, formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch us live on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Task Force has intensified its operations along the Lagos-Badagry Expressway, resulting in a seizure of 497 motorcycles, popularly known as Okada, that were found plying the highway, despite being prohibited from doing so. Minister of Works David Umahi has reiterated the federal government's commitment to improving Nigeria's road infrastructure to ensure the safety of roads in order to boost the economy. We also told you that the United Kingdom has announced sanctions on 4 Israeli settlers accused of committing human rights abuses against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank after a similar move by the United States this month. And in sports, Super Eagles winger Ahmed Musa has expressed satisfaction with the performance of the team despite losing 2-1 to Côte d'Ivoire in the finals of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagostate.gov.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Zainab Adebeshi. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe.